Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the C-Suite Mentor podcast. I am your host, Theresa. And this episode is going to be a little different. So whether you are listening to the audio version of the podcast or you are watching the video version, this message is something that has been on my heart for some time. As you know, I work a lot with local business owners. We've talked about challenges that businesses have faced over the past couple of years and just insights that I've seen working with people, coaching people, mentoring people that own local businesses, that are leaders in local businesses, that are CEOs of their business. And the insights that I've seen into things that are working and things that aren't working. And something that has been on my heart for some time, and I'm just going to deal it to you straight and just talk straight, is the whole principle of getting away from really understanding what is at the core of what you do. What is at the core of your business? And I just came back from I went with a client of mine to one of their buying shows. So he owns a retail store, and he wanted me, this is probably the third year I've gone with him, to go to this show and just kind of meet the vendors and, get some exposure and just also help him to, make good business decisions. So I just was at this show, and this theme came up time and time again. It is a conversation that I have had with other local businesses in his area, as well as businesses that were at this show. And it's a conversation that I've had with my clients, people who have come to me and have said, Theresa, I'm struggling. My business isn't growing. I feel like it's stuck. We've gone backwards. We're not generating the revenue like we used to, or we're just not generating revenue. Things are flat. I'm really scared. My costs are up. My expenses are up, and I'm not really sure what to do. And the truth of the matter is, one of the key things that I've seen when people have come to me with these concerns, and again, as I said, I was at this show and it came up, this topic just came up over and over and over again, is that feeling of, or that desire and need when things are challenging, when things you're not really sure how to move your business forward. Especially, again, I've talked about different industries and the landscape that changes so fast. Retail is one of them. Restaurants are one of them. Technology companies are one of them. And I've seen this pattern time and time again, that instead of looking at what's happening in your business and saying, all right, let's get back to the core of what we do. Why is it that we do what we do in the first place? Why is it that we have a retail store? Why did I open up a retail store? Or why did I start this law firm? Or why did I start my accounting practice? Instead of looking at that and looking at what is happening in your business. How is your business operating? Do you have a lot of complexity in your procedures and your processes? Do you have systems and software that you don't use but you're spending money on because somebody told you to get it? So looking at these things and saying, being curious, I talk a lot about being curious about how your business runs, but really looking at these things and saying, the processes that we've put into place for how we create the customer experience, or the process that we put into place to train our employees, looking at that and saying, does this embrace and encapsulate and capture the why, our North Star in our business? And many times over, that's not a thought that a lot of people have. I, in fact, had someone, when I asked this question this past couple days, why do you do your business? Like what's the passion behind it? And the answer was to make money. And my next question was, well, have you spent some time defining what it is, like what do you want to achieve? What is that North Star that you have? What is that passion that you have? Have you spent time doing that? And the answer I got was no, because it's a waste. We don't have time to do that. Well, here's the thing that I'm going to tell you. You don't have time to not do it. That is something that you need to make the time to do. Because if you don't spend time defining who are you, what are you about, and making sure that that shows up in everyday operations in your business, that is going to start to send your business backwards. It's also going to start to really erode at the culture in your business. It's going to send a lot of confusion through the business, because the consequence of not doing that and just chasing the dollar and chasing the money and chasing every single shiny object, whether it's getting new product in the door or getting a new piece of software that somebody told you to get, or the famous is like getting this new app that somebody told you to get that's going to bring more people through your door. The consequence of doing that without understanding what it is that you really believe in first leads to building a shell of a company. It leads to building a company that doesn't have any heart behind it. And what I saw walking through this show, vendor after vendor after vendor, and these people, I mean, I've seen them for several years now, is that there was a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. And these are people who aren't just in the United States. They're pretty much in England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales. But there's a lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty. And instead of leaning into it and saying, what makes us great? What makes my business great? What makes our team great? And then looking at that and saying, what makes us great? How have we then put that into our business and delivered that to our customers? And how can we do more of that to attract more people and to really stand out in, quite frankly, an oversaturated, overcrowded marketplace? So the consequence, as I said, to not really focusing on your why and not focusing on that passion and that North Star in your business leads to overcomplication. It leads to copying. It leads to perpetuating someone else's mistakes in pricing or product or whatever it is. And honestly, it leads to watering down your brand. So I had one conversation in particular with a manufacturer who has been around for a very long time, family-owned business, built it up, jewelry. And they always had a core focus in a specific area. And that's how the business was built. That's how things grew. And what they've decided to do, because of the way the economy has fluctuated, the way buying behaviors have fluctuated, instead of really focusing on the core, what they've done is now they're adding in this product line because we saw it working in the Caribbean. So we're going to bring it to our business, which is a very high-end product line. We're going to do this over here, which is a very low-end line of jewelry. We're going to do this over here. So going in all of these different directions with all of these different messages, because if you're messaging for something super high-end and you're messaging for something super low-end, potentially two different people, right? So it gets confusing. It gets confusing for your customers. It gets confusing for your team. It gets confusing for your network. And again, no one knows what you stand for. And the reason why people do that, the reason why people overcomplicate or procrastinate or want to copy is that there's a fear there that either they can't figure it out, they can't figure out how to fix things, that it's not possible to fix things, or a lot of assumptions are made that what this business over here is doing to promote a similar product line or a similar concept or whatever, what they're doing to promote it, making assumptions that, oh, they're successful, so we're just going to do what they're doing. So the bottom line is, and again, I've seen this a lot. I've seen it a lot I have a gentleman that I mentor, and he has a tutoring business. And we've had several conversations about pricing structures and looking at what's going on in his market and the pricing structure. And well, it works for this company. So this pricing structure and the way that they're delivering their product works for them. So I think I should do it that way. And the answer is no. So at the core of all of this, and I'm totally I wasn't supposed to talk about this topic at all on my podcast today, and that's okay because it's my podcast that I can talk about what I want. But I see it a lot. I see it a lot because, again, there's a lot of uncertainty in the world as far as what the Fed's going to do with the interest rates, what's going to happen with being able to obtain loans, what's going to happen with being able to obtain funding or getting investors. There's a lot of uncertainty around that just because of what's happening on a global scale and on a local scale. There's a lot of uncertainty as far as in specific industries, again, with things changing so rapidly, what's going to happen with that industry and how can I continue to stand out? So what all of this is letting circumstances dictate your dreams, letting your current circumstances dictate what you can and can't do or should and shouldn't do, and letting your current circumstances dictate how big your vision should be. And these are all things that we don't want to do because whatever is happening today, whatever is going on in the market, whatever, it's not going to be happening probably a week from now or a month from now or, whatever. Things are constantly changing. And sure, we have a lot of uncertainty right now. We have a lot of stuff going on, but that's not going to last forever either. Things will, and it's just the way things tip, and it's the natural shift in the universe. But we have to be willing to lean into whatever is happening in our business, in our industry, and say, instead of looking at it and saying, how can we go wider? How can we go bigger? How can we go when our business is struggling? If our business is struggling and we're trying to go bigger and we're trying to go wider without fixing the problem first, you're just perpetuating the problem. Because no matter what ends up happening with the growth, you're not going to be able to handle it because the foundational pieces haven't been addressed and fixed. So if you find yourself looking around and saying, or feeling like you're just chasing the money, you're chasing like the next big thing, and you haven't spent time really understanding who you are, what your business is about, who you serve, how can you serve them better? If you haven't really spent time doing that, I highly encourage you to. Because if you have gotten to the point where you're saying, the reason I'm in business is to make money, that's a given. Everybody, you start a business because you want to make money, but there needs to be a deeper reason behind it. And more often than not, I have seen business owners start a business, grow the business with no vision behind it. All they have is they just dive in and they say, I'm just going. And then again, what does that lead to? That business owner, that CEO wearing multiple hats, struggling to build a team, looking externally for answers for growth, and eventually having a business that on the outside might look okay, but behind the scenes it's not. So again, if this is you, I want you to take a look at, have you gone back and said, what does our business really stand for? What are we really doing? All right. Even looking at what you're selling, looking at the profitability of a product line, okay, or a profitability of different items that you're selling, profitability of services that you offer, profitability of menu items that you serve, looking at them and saying, what is working and what isn't working? Instead of so-and-so down the street is offering a burger special with fries and like a $2 beer, so it works for them, so we need to do that too. So looking at things in your business and saying, all right, what do we need to cut? What do we need to let go of? What isn't working for us anymore? And maybe it's not a matter of cutting. Maybe it's a matter of how can we tweak it? How can we improve it? How can we make it better? We don't spend enough time doing that and asking those questions. And they're very important questions to ask our team and to ask ourselves. How can we consistently get better every day? Even if it's 1% better, 2%, 3%, it doesn't have to be these huge leaps, but how can we make things better? And again, going back to the core of your business and looking at if you have expanded and you're not seeing the growth, revenue or profit. Profit is super important. If you haven't seen the growth there, you need to go back and look and say, do we have the right people in the right places? Do we have the right processes in place to simplify so we can amplify? And do we have the right priorities? Are we focusing on way too many things? And if the answer to one or all of those is yes, you need to spend some time defining those things. You need to spend some time going back, slowing down a bit so that you can build that stronger foundation so that you can then speed up and achieve growth. So don't be one of those people that is just constantly chasing money, constantly chasing the dollar, and just adding every new shiny object syndrome or shiny object that you see because you think that's what's going to give you the growth that you're looking for. Instead, let's go back and do less with more. Smallest viable product. What is the smallest action that we can take to change some things, to tweak some things that is going to lead to a big result? Sometimes it literally is, and I've seen this happen many times over, is that you've gone way too wide in your business and you need to go deeper. So figuring out what works and then doing more of that. Don't be one of those people that copies. Don't be one of those people that looks at the industry and says, this is what the industry says I should do, so that's what I'm going to do. Challenge it. Challenge the status quo. Challenge the norm. Break out of whatever paradigm you've been in, whatever mold you've been in. Break out of that and do that next amazing thing. That take those bold actions that you need to take. Not big action, but bold action. And let go of the stuff that's not working. When we hang on to things or we add more into our business that's not working, well, guess what's going to happen, right? So, and remember, what's going on in the world today, and I said this last night at a dinner, I said, whatever's going on in the world today, it's not going to last forever. There are cycles that happen. It's not going to, we're not going to be hopefully, we won't be experiencing this 5 years from now or 2 years from now. But even if it stays like this, you have the ability to make the difference. You have the ability to really dig in and connect with those customers or potential customers that really want to buy from you, that really want to work with you, that really want to, know what your business is about. You have the ability to do it, but we have to stop blocking that creativity and we have to stop distracting ourselves with trying to pull in the next best thing just because it worked for someone else. So we don't want to chase the money. We want to chase the vision. And it's not even chasing the vision. It's more, we want to hold that vision and put all of our greatness and our team's greatness into the journey of making that vision become a reality. So I hope you have a great rest of your week. And I will see you again here soon next week. So let's all take care of each other just a little bit more than we already do. All right. Bye for now. Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. If you found value on this show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me.
Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.